hello. And welcome to our Facebook Live for today. I hope you can hear me all right and see me. I can see some eyeballs there already. That's good to see. Big welcome to you all. I hope that you've been having a great time during our Momentum for Change week. It started, of course, with our event on the weekends. We had over 3,030 women registered for the event, which was incredible. We had such a great time with everybody, and thank you so much for everybody who did attend. It was really super. And if you didn't attend, I did a little recap webinar last night right here in the B1 Global Community. So you can go and check that out. It's one of the announcements at the top of the group. So it went for about 90 minutes, I think, with questions and things. It was maybe close to 2 hours there. But I managed to condense the main key themes and takeaway messages from our guest speakers and all of that great stuff into a little synopsis training, which we delivered last night right here into B1. So if you haven't seen that as the announcement, make some time to watch it over the weekend. It will only be up until Monday, and then we will be bringing it down. So you'll get the opportunity to watch that until Monday, and then it's coming down. If you've joined me here, please do say hello in the comments section. Don't leave me hanging. Say hello, hello, hello. It's always very nice to see who's watching and where you are or listening in. And this afternoon, we are here for... okay, cool. We are here for Q&A and for coaching. So when we have these very important moments in our time, when we open enrollments for our Living the Change program, we always like to have the opportunity to coach, have the opportunity to start to introduce the tools in a kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? In a, I guess, a relaxed fashion, in a way which shows you exactly how it would happen, or almost, it's closer to that as we can create, as it would happen inside of our, inside of the coaching community of Living the Change. So that's what we're doing today. Obviously, in order to achieve that, I need some people here with some challenges and some things to coach. That said, we have been getting lots and lots of questions over the last week, many of which I have here on a document which was sent through to me yesterday. So I am just trying to find that. So I've got it here for you, and I can answer some of these questions. We've had lots of questions actually over the course of the time. There it is. Fantastic. Open. That's it. There it is. So if you asked questions on the webinar last night and I didn't get to them, or if you've asked questions at Momentum for Change and I didn't get to them, I'm very happy to take those questions here too. And also to answer any questions that you might have about the Living the Change program. Living the Change is our ongoing online program of coaching and training. It introduces you to the foundational tools that we share here at One of Many, as well as giving you access to coaching support. So having that person that you can go to, where you can unburden, where you can be seen and heard and witnessed, and who has an amazing tool belt available to help you through your challenges so that you don't need to get stuck. And we have 3 great levels that you can get started at in order to join in Living the Change, which is tailored that way so that we can be there for almost any budget. We really work very hard to do that. So you can get started at bronze level from as little as £29 a month, right up to where you can have your very own one-on-one coach there for you twice a month, supported by the amazing training, the amazing community, and all of the support in that area for $329 a month. So amazing opportunities available. We have enrollments open at the moment for that program until Monday at midnight. And then the doors will be closing again, and we will be turning all of our attention inward once more to be welcoming in our new members. And I think at last count, we had, what was it? What was it that we had here? I'm just remembering that Joe sent me a message this morning. We've got, what's that, 116, 19. We've got about 130, 135 or so have joined us so far in the membership, which is incredible and extraordinary. A big welcome to you, to all of you who have joined us. And as you know, I've been giving you big hugs and high fives as you come on into the hearth. Now, for some reason, I cannot see any comments at all. I don't know if that's because no one is actually asking me a question, or whether it's because, let me just kind of see if that does anything, or whether it's that I have a technical glitch. So if you do happen to be listening and you want to help me out here, could you write something in the comments section just so I know the comments is working? Otherwise, it's going to be a very short Q&A session if no one can actually communicate with me, right? So welcome, big welcome to those of you who are here. So let me take some of the questions that have been coming in over the course of the week that we haven't got to yet. The first one comes from Sue Tranter, who says, I'm job hunting. How do you really find out if an organisation works on feminine power? So we talked a lot on the weekend of Momentum for Change and last night also. Oh, Alyssa, thank you so much. Yay. Oh, lots of people are saying hi now. That's good. Excellent. I know that there's some people there. That's good. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, ladies. It makes my life so much easier when I know my technology is at least working. It's just that everybody's busy, I guess, on a Friday afternoon. That's fine. That's totally fine. I don't mind. But yeah, so Sue's question, how do you find out if an organisation works on feminine power? What Sue's referencing there is the fact that over the course of the weekend we introduced people to this concept of soft power, what that is, and how many organisations are very masculine in their paradigm, i.e. very hierarchical, very cut and thrust, very focused on getting results, to the detriment sometimes of the workers that work there. And it's only of late, Sue says, my history has been in very masculine paradigm organisations. And it's only of late that I've realised why I've felt like a fish out of water, why I don't fit, why I'm unhappy. And I want to change that for me and for others. So if you are like Sue and you're out job hunting at the moment, you want to get a sense of what the culture is like in an organisation, then there's a few ways to approach that. So the first way would be to check them out, right? Check them out using all of the channels that you have available to you. So go to their website. What does their website tell you about who they are? Go to their social channels. What are people saying about them? Look at their name as a hashtag and what are people saying about them externally? Maybe have a look at your LinkedIn profile and see if you know anyone that works there or for that organisation. And if you do, get on the phone. You might call them, depending on the organisation, you might call them up and just have an interaction with them, not as a potential employee, but as a potential client and get a sense. You can tell so much about what kind of an organisation a place is just by asking. So what you're really, if you're wanting to work in a different kind of paradigm, you can kind of do that research at the front end. You know, have they won any awards for employee relations or for, best employers and that kind of stuff? That's always a good telltale sign that they look after people. Then ultimately, I guess, so much can be gleaned at interview. So when you go for an interview at an organisation, it's not just about you showing up to do the best job that you possibly can in the context of your work. It's also, and by the way, if you have any questions about content or about living the change or anything, please do type them into the comments section on the post. I'm here to do Q&A with you, content Q&A, living the change Q&A, to support you in whatever way to help you make great decisions as you move forward over the weekend. So yeah, in the interview, it's not just about you presenting yourself in the best way and doing a great job, but it's also about gleaning what the organisation is like. So it's then about asking some questions. Now, you're not going to ask a question, would you say this is a feminine paradigm organisation or a masculine paradigm organisation? Most organisations wouldn't have a language for that. So instead, you could ask questions about things that would point to that. So you might say, how do you take care of the well-being of your employees? And if you're met by blank stares and people kind of looking at each other going, what's that? Well, that is quite telling. If they say, well, we have a really rigorous wellbeing structure in place, we make sure that anybody who works overtime takes replenishment days subsequently to be able to catch that up. We are very much involved in, we have a partnership with our local gym so that people can get support there. So, if they've got a wellbeing program, clearly, the wellbeing of staff is important in some way, shape or form. You could ask questions like, how would important decisions be made in this team? And that how they answer that for you would give you pointers as to whether it's going to be collaborative or hierarchical and so on. You could ask questions like, what do you look for when you're offering promotions? So all of these sorts of things will hint to what type of organisation it is. So just ask yourself that as prepare a list of questions that will reveal the kind of paradigm that organisation is offering, and then you get a sense of whether it's the kind of place that you want to be. Maybe you can ask, how they support the parents in the organisation, and so on and so forth. So just you ask lots of questions, and it's just then energetics, reading the response, and so on. Does that help, Sue? I hope that helps you, and thank you so much for sending in your question. It's a great one, and I think a really fabulous way of stepping out into the new paradigm. If that's helpful for those of you that are listening, give me a little thumbs up or a little bit of love, or say something in the comments section there. It'd be great to hear from you. So the next question that I'm going to take here is one which has come from Lisa Constanti. And that is, what's the difference between living the change and leading the change? So here at One of Many, we have 2 programs. Oh, in fact, we've got dozens of programs. Is it dozens? I don't know if it's dozens. About a dozen. One is living the change and leading the change, and they do sound similar, and there are some similarities in that when you join us for Lead the Change, which is the leadership focus program, you get Living the Change included as part of it. You get access to all of that, but they are different. So Lead the Change is a 12-month program, which is created to support women who are ready to dig in at an exceptionally deep level and want to come to retreats with us. So it has as its backbone 4 live in-person events over the course of the year. Having said that, we have been delivering those virtually, but they are on pillar subjects. So you get a ticket to our Be Wealth retreat, so you can sort out your finances. You get a ticket to our Be Love retreat, so you can sort out your love, relationships, work relationships. You get a ticket to our Be Vital retreat, so you can sort out your vitality, your time, and well-being. You get a ticket to our Be Fulfilled retreat, so you can sort out a fulfilling career. Oh, excuse me, sneeze. So that's the backbone, and on the back of each of the retreats, you stay for a closed-door session. The 3rd day is for only Lead the Change participants. Anybody can come to a single retreat, but only Lead the Change come to the 3rd day on the Sunday. And that's where we do intense, deep-dive leadership development workshops, and we support you to really embody and become the leader that you were born to be. So there's a backbone of retreats and events, which are a critical part of the difference between Living the Change and Lead the Change. Both programs have availability of a one-on-one coach. So on Lead the Change, you get 2 lots of coaching every month, and on Living the Change, you also get 2 lots of coaching every month. And on Lead the Change, we also put you into what's called a soft power circle, where you'll do facilitated peer support with a group of women who are going through the journey and through that program with you. And that you meet once a month with them, and you develop really deep and lasting relationships with that circle of women. Now, that is something that we facilitate in Lead the Change. We don't facilitate it in Living the Change. Having said that, some of our Living the Change members have formed circles and are doing that themselves, which is awesome. I'm thinking of Aisha, who shared in her great video that we saw on the weekend, and we've heard over the course of the week, that she's got together with 9 others in the Living the Change program, and they are kind of supporting each other in that powerful way, which is very, very cool. So, so that's kind of some of the key differences. Lead the Change also has an extraordinary leadership workshop called Be Influence, which is a day which is facilitated with horses as your coaches. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you can't pull the wool over a horse's eye. How you show up, they respond to. And over the last few weeks, a lot of our Lead the Change ladies have been going and having their Be Influence days. It is the only live event we can actually hold at the moment because the numbers are very small and intimate, and it's outside with the horses, so we're able to do it, which is brilliant. So we have Be Wealth, which is one of our Lead the Change workshops coming up on the 9th and 10th of October. So it's coming up super soon. If money is one of those areas you want to get sorted, you can still come and join us at Be Wealth. Just book a call with the ladies in the office. They'll have a chat to you and we can sort you out if you want to come and join us for that. It is being delivered virtually again at this time. We're hoping... I was very optimistic that Be Wealth we would be able to be coming back together again, but it seems that is not the case. So I guess, these things are out of our hands. But the good news is that those who are on Lead the Change, they're getting the retreats in person, and they are the virtual version, right? They're getting the virtual version of the retreats that we can deliver now, and they've got a voucher to come and attend in person when we can come back to our in-person events. So we are very much looking after everybody during the course of this particular crazy moment in our history. So Lead the Change is kind of like living the change, but on steroids, because you really dig in on 4 other pillars. There's a whole leadership curriculum wrapped around it as well. Having said that, Living the Change is an awesome place to get started right now. It's an awesome introduction to all of our tools if you're brand new to the community. It's a way to get started understanding the 5 women's power types, a way to get started emptying out the emotions that you're carrying around with you and getting you back to a really strong and centered place. In fact, using Living the Change, you can take yourself from a feeling of overwhelm or stuckness or procrastination back into flow very, very quickly. And how quickly depends on how much time you're able to dedicate to it. But if you set aside, an hour or so a week or a couple of hours a week, in 12 weeks you wouldn't know yourself. Even if you could just put aside 20 minutes a week, like for one video a week, in 12 weeks, you would be opening up and feeling so much better. It's amazing how fast things start moving. We see people in their first 30 days going, holy moly, with just what I've done in the first 30 days, I've absolutely transformed my outlook. I'm exercising again, or I'm all sorts of amazing habits get in place quickly. The program's designed that way. So it's a very, very powerful program. And you can just stay for as long as you're getting value. So being a membership, you don't, like with Lead the Change, it's a commitment for 12 months. It has a £9,000 price tag. With Living the Change, you can take it month by month if you want to. You might go for your one-on-one coach because that feels important for you right now. Might feel really important to have a safe place where you can come and talk to someone one-on-one, offload what's going on for you, work through obstacles, be held to account to make sure you're doing things. That might feel really important. And in Living the Change, you only need to commit month by month. So for only £329 a month, you can have that access to coaching as well as everything else that's included in the membership. So if you're looking at Living the Change, it's really important that you know enrollments are open only until midnight London time on Monday. Midnight London time on Monday. So you can jump in at oneofmany.co.uk/LVC. That's oneofmany.co.uk/LVC. I could put that on my screen here, actually. Can she do it? Can she do that? I think she probably can. Here we go. Look at this. oneofmany.co.uk/LVC. Add. Look at that. So that's where you go, oneofmany.co.uk/LVC, and that is where you will be able to, let me see if I can make that a little easier for you to read. We'll put a background on it there, shall we? That might make it easier to read. There we are. So it's oneofmany.co.uk/LVC. All of the details of the Living the Change program are spelled out there. and you'll be ready to rock and roll with that. You can get registered right there on the page, just like the hundreds of women who have done it before you. I think we've got a membership of over 500 amazing women in there going through this program, some of whom have their own one-on-one coach, some have joined us at silver level and have group coaching, and some are at bronze level and doing community-wide Q&As. But no matter what your level of program, you will get transformation, absolutely. Liz says, I did an hour a week with Be Fruitful before Living the Change existed, and she said it changed my life dramatically. Absolutely, that's all you got to do, right? An hour a week. And interestingly, Liz, as you say that, Be Fruitful, which is our time and energy management course, is a bonus program that we are giving to everybody who invests in an annual membership of Living the Change. So if you are thinking of getting involved and you know that your biggest challenge right now is time management, then I highly recommend back yourself for the full year. Go for an annual membership at any level, silver, gold, or bronze, and we will include Be Fruitful for you. Also, your annual membership, you save 2 months. So at bronze level, instead of paying I don't know exactly what it is, 12 times 29, I can't figure that out in my head, but it's got to be close to 360, right? Instead of that, it's £290, so it's a significant saving. And at gold level, you're saving over £600 if you go for an annual membership. Everything's covered by a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you don't have to feel you've got to make some huge and monumental decision to start. You can just jump into the community, sign up today. You're only going to be risking your first month's membership, and then we will give you that back if you decide you don't love it, right? If it's not for you, let us know, and we'll give you all your money back if you don't like it in the first month. So you've got 30 days just to check it out. It's our way of kind of, I guess, making it as easy as possible. I know there's a lot of bluster around out there in the online community space, and not all programs are as great as the person who tells you about them would like to think that they are. We know ours is incredible, and we also have loads of our community who will support that, to share that. Having said, but still, even then, there's that piece of, well, what if it doesn't work for me? I can get that it works for all of them, but what if it doesn't work for me? You'll only know if you can make it work for you if you give it a try, right? If you try the exercises and see how you go. So your first month is pretty much on us, right? Yes, you do have to pay for it, but if you don't love it, we'll give you your money back. Oh, that's lovely to hear. That's absolutely lovely to hear. Let me make this a little smaller over here. That's the web address. I'll leave that up. But I can see Mary saying, I signed up for Living the Change, and I love listening to the soft powercasts. Yes, there are so many in there. There's 60 soft powercasts that you can listen to. Just listening to them while you're doing the dishes or doing the ironing or out on the school run or exercising, working out, going for a walk. There's such great information there, and all of them can do an amazing job to support you in that transformation. From overwhelmed, burned out, really back into your soft power, harnessing these 5 women's power types that you hear me talking about so much here at One of Many. Lovely. If you're on the line with me live, do say hello. Let me know where in the world you are in the comment section. It's always nice to know who's listening in and where you are. And if you have any questions about content, any questions about Living the Change, maybe you've already registered for Living the Change and you're wanting to know, should I upgrade, or what? I registered at bronze, but maybe I want to go up to silver. By all means, ask me your questions. I'm here for you for this hour with any questions that you have. Michelle, now this is an interesting, really interesting comment and question here from Michelle that came on the weekend, and we heard this a lot. That was, it's challenging because we sometimes make the assumption that all women have children and partners at home. What about single people like me? I don't have children. I'm a charity leader and having to support others through this lockdown. Yet, whilst I'm happy to be alone, it gets lonely when you don't have a person to talk to have a cuddle with, and so on. So for women who are happy generally in their own space but don't have the luxury of partners or children, how do we get outside our own heads? Oh, yes, I totally hear what you are saying, my love. Totally hear what you're saying, Michelle. And, well, the first thing I want to say actually is to ask for forgiveness from those who are at home alone. When we're giving like little quip off the hand examples, we'll often draw from our own experience. And my experience is a white, privileged, heterosexual, middle class, married with kids bloody experience, yeah? So please forgive me if when I am in flow, these are the little quips that I grab and bring to the fore. But having said that, the diversity of our community is immense in terms of the experience that we've been having. The overwhelming majority actually of the team at One of Many don't have kids at home. Then my best mate, I've been supporting my best mate through lockdown, and she's been by herself during lockdown, and as have a load of the community. Please let me know in the comment section if you're here with me, if you've been doing lockdown or quarantine by yourself. And if we're going back in, it's looking like you might be doing it by yourself again. Please do let me know, because it's nice to reach out and know who's out there in that same scenario. And here's what I want to say about that is it's bloody hard. On the one hand, those of us who were locked down with our families would have done anything to be by ourselves. And then on the other hand, those that were by themselves would have done anything just to have a hug, to have touch from another human being. So this raises the question, or raises the challenge here around the fact that what if, right, what do we do if and when we are alone and we can't get our needs for physical connection with others met? All of us have that, to a lesser or greater degree, the need for physical touch, right? To have someone else's arms around us, for intimacy. You might be happily living alone, but your sex life might be really critically important to you. And what happens to that if you're not able to be out and dating and having great sexual relationships and so forth? So it is a really difficult time. It might be, there is something different, even though we've got this fabulous opportunity to connect in this way virtually. We don't necessarily get the same neurological kind of soothing from a Zoom call that we would just being in the lived presence of another human being. And what we said going into quarantine, and what we've been working with a lot of our Living the Change members on a lot, is recognizing that we have a needs creed, right? Needs creed is one of the tools that we have in Living the Change. If you've just joined us, it's in module 2, and it's one of the keys to replenishment, being able to identify your basic needs and being able to look after those, right? So when you're looking after your needs, you might notice that on there's, drinking 2 liters of water a day might be one. Eating 3 good meals of good produce. It might be moving your body every day in some way. And that might look like yoga, or it might look like a walk, or it might look like dancing, might look like any of those things. But moving your body might be the need. On my needs creed is physical touch, and I need to be touched, right? I need to be touched 8 times a day around about to feel good, right? To feel good. So I can totally get, if like Michelle, I was in a situation where I was in quarantine for months by myself, that not having that need met would mean I am not at okay. And this is where we have to then get creative and go, okay, how can I either do a version of fulfilling that need for myself, or up the ante on my other needs so that particular need can be soothed? Let me give you some examples. So if it was physical touch, say Michelle, and I was quarantined by myself, and they're talking about some, what's the word they're using, circuit breaker lockdowns and things, and here in the UK at the moment. So if this happens again, it's things like, the first thing I would be doing is I would be very consciously playing music from my lover PowerType and soothing my body. So last night I ran the webinar. Let me give you an example of this, and you guys are going to laugh. This is very okay. Here's why you want to come to these little pop-up Facebook Lives, because Jo shares secrets that she wouldn't otherwise share. You ready for a big secret? So, I got off the webinar last night. That was about 10 o'clock, and I've been sitting here in front of my big screen, and I know that means I'm not going to be able to go to sleep for about 3 hours because of the light. It takes me about 3 hours to get off screens and to be able to wind down. Small screens, not so bad, but big screens, definitely. It's a 3-hour wind down. And I went downstairs, and Greg was a little bit frisky. And to be perfectly honest, after doing a webinar, sex was the last thing on my mind. But that said, the invitation was there, and I thought, okay, well, what I need to do is get myself back in my body. I need to soothe myself. So I went, drew myself a bath, and just gently just felt my skin, caressed my skin, my hands, not self-pleasuring or anything, but just giving myself some physical touch to bring myself into my body to see whether I felt like it. I said to Greg, just give me 20 minutes and I'll go and see if I'm in the mood. And, well, do you know, lo and behold, I was, and it was great. But the point here, Michelle, is we can soothe ourselves. We can soothe ourselves with physical touch. And, while we're at it, there's a lot to be said for the health benefits of masturbation. If you are by yourself, self-pleasure is a brilliant thing to do, even if you're not by yourself. Self-pleasuring with your lover right next to you. Why the hell not, right? Why the hell not? So I think that can really go a long way to sustain that kind of you can give yourself physical touch. Then the counterside to that is that you can use the inability to meet all of our kind of physical or basic needs, like physical touch or what have you, as an opportunity for spiritual growth. So if you think about it, there's stories about yogis and so on who don't even eat or drink forever, not forever, but for a really long time. They don't need to. And so there is a place where we can actually open and connect to source in a powerful way and deepen that relationship. And I know in the community that's been very much what I've heard from a lot of women who've been a part of the One of Many community for a while and who've therefore developed a powerful spiritual practice and have been locked down. I'm thinking of Stephanie Aitken, who is one of our One of Many trainers. Those of you who are in Living the Change, you're going to have the deep pleasure of meeting Stephanie in Living the Change on pillar calls, and also she is one of my co-trainers for the Be Wealth program that's coming up. And Stephanie did lockdown in her apartment in London, by herself. And she said that towards the end, even with all of her tools, towards the end, she was going crazy. It was very hard. She was going crazy. She spoke about it openly, about how challenging that was. But what I've noticed since there's been a bit of a relaxing, she can at least be in presence with people, but she has recommitted and deeply committed to her spiritual practice, really going deeply within and opening up. She said, I got the tap on the shoulder and I'm really opening up to that at the moment. So that's another way that you can utilize these moments to really dig into some kind of spiritual work, some kind of spiritual practice. It might be journaling, it might be writing, it doesn't matter what it is, but there's opportunity. So, and joining in with one of Annie's dynamic meditation sessions. For me, that is the spiritual practice that I most love, is Annie's dynamic meditation work. She runs those classes in Living the Change once a month, and something like that can get you out of your head, back into your body, whether you're home with a million other people or if you're by yourself. So, Michelle, I hope that answers the question for you, to know that, there's many ways for us to get our needs met that don't have to be necessarily with others. So that's lovely. Awesome. So let's come back to you, ladies. I can see Julie in South Wales. Oh, I was in South Wales lately for our holiday. It was so nice, Julie. Alison in Bangor, Northern Ireland. Yay. Oh, Callie's saying, what a lovely surprise on a Friday afternoon. Yes, let's have a look. Yeah, so Callie says, my 15-year-old doesn't usually live with us because she could do school from home. And because she could do school from home, she came to stay with us in Scotland. I struggled more when lockdown was lifted and she went home because it felt like she'd left me again. Yeah, I can get that, Callie. That's it. There has been a bit of that, hasn't there? That grief of back to school has been challenging, I think. I know I felt it with my kids. On the one hand, there's that, some space to do some things for me, for the business and so on. But on the other hand, there's that grief and that loss that we had the little kind of, there's not three musketeers, there was four of us, but that little feeling of camaraderie that we developed, which is challenging. Yeah, yes. Mary says, I'm from Guam. Oh, hi, Mary. Yay, good to meet you. I think my kids feel the change right away when they keep saying thank you and saying that they love me for no reason at all. I really appreciate your program, Jo. Oh, because Mary's on Living the Change. Mary, thank you for that feedback. That's it. Kids are sensitive. And when you shift where you're coming from in your energy, right? When you shift where you're coming from in your energy, they will naturally respond differently. If you want to transform your parenting, don't focus on the kid. Focus on you, right? I really do feel that. I really, truly feel that. It is such a profound way of operating in the world. No doubt about that whatsoever. And Mary, obviously, you're living proof of that. They can feel it, right? They can feel you're more present. They can feel you're more centered in your soft power. They can feel it. That's really good to hear. Well done. And I truly acknowledge you for picking up the tools, getting started with them and doing it. Yay, you. Woo! Well done. Well done. Great. Callie says, I love that idea. Give me 20 minutes and I'll see if I'm in the mood. I mean, that's it, right? It's so easy to say no, especially when you're in a long-term relationship, to sex, that is. If you've just joined us, I was sharing about my exploits last night. But when you're in a long-term relationship, it is so easy to say no, and that doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve the relationship. It doesn't serve your partner. But equally, you don't want to say yes if you can't be open to it. But I don't know about you. When I've been busy doing my thing, whatever my thing is, whether it's my gardening or my, whatever, I am not sure yet. I'm not sure yet how I feel about that, because unlike my husband, who, bless him, being masculine, energy-centered, thinks about it most of the day and is a yes whenever, it's not at the front of my mind all of the time. I actually did have a phase after I went to Necker Island last year. I had this immense it was weird. It was like a spiritual awakening, and I was turned on by life. It's the only way I can talk about it. I felt turned on. I felt quite literally turned on all day from sun up to sunset. I totally knew what it felt like to be a teenage boy, who just was always thinking about sex, or not sex so much, but just turned on. It was unbelievable. It was amazing. It was a really revolutionary time, I've got to say, in my own spiritual development. And it's been an amazing up-leveling for me, recognizing that spiritual energy is very akin to that, is akin to sexual energy. So it was... But a lot of the saints talk about that, right? The rapture of the saints and things. It was really interesting. Anyway, I was talking about when I'm normal, as I am at the moment, it was a great phase. But God, I don't know that I could live there all of the time. I need to up-level my body's capacity for turned-onedness. But when I am in my normal state of affairs, it's like hang on, just give me that space. And it can really help, because it's not being a no, but it's also not being a premature yes and then kind of go, oh, do you know what? Okay, and feeling like it wasn't, lovely, delicious, that connection. So yeah, great. Callie, use that as much as you like, my darling. Use it as much as you like. Lovely. Oh, wonderful. Beverly says, One of Many helped me find a spiritual practice through Sorceress, and it's kept me immensely. That's really good to hear, Beverly. That's one of the things that a lot of women report in the One of Many community is that sense of, as they come into their power types and they start to trust and open up to Sorceress more, that they do get that, sneeze, they do get that spiritual practice starts to find itself. And it's different for everybody, what that might be. It might be meditation. It might be just a conscious walk in nature. It might be going to church or going to mosque or going to temple or whatever it could be, right? But as long as it works for you the adult, which is different to you the child, and I think that's a key piece. Oh, great question! We've got a very a newbie with us, Eleanor. What's sorceress, queen, etc.? What are you talking about? That's great. That's great. Welcome, Eleanor. So we talk about here foundational, I think, to one of many is the principle of what we call soft power, and we like to, we talk about it in many ways, but let me explain it through the lens of the archetypes. So Plato first talked about archetypes and Jung developed them as these collectively inherited unconscious ideas or ways of being, thought forms, if you like. And here at One of Many, we identify that most women spend their most women, when we're unconscious to it, spend our time in archetypes which are relatively disempowering. Things like Superwoman, who is trying to get everything done all of the time, being everything to everybody, being awesome, being brilliant, being the highest achiever, the best at everything, the best everything, right? And sometimes Superwoman, she's got 3 wicked stepsisters, the victim, the bitch, and the martyr. If we spend a lot of time in Superwoman, we can turn into the martyr, where we start putting everybody else's needs ahead of our own, and we sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice for everybody else, and the fuckers don't notice it, and then sometimes we can then turn into the bitch, right? And we can shout at our kids or our partner, or the passive-aggressive comes out at work, we don't usually shout at work, although some people do, but it can get a bit snarky. Or the victim, where it's like, oh God, I'm hopeless, and sometimes like these are a cycle, we go through all of them, right? Oh, I'm so hopeless, I can't do this, I'm exhausted, oh, there's nothing I can do, oh, I can't change anything, oh, I'm a hopeless human being, that kind of vibe. So these disempowering archetypes, when we're good, all of us have access to the 5 women's power types, the good sisters. But when we're bad, and we all do this, we access the less empowering archetypes. So when I'm tired, shouty mummy pops out from time to time. I'm not proud of that. She didn't used to before lockdown. I got to say, it took a lot to get me shouty before lockdown. But this time has been stressful for so many of us, even those of us with huge amounts of resources. I always make the point of apologizing if shouty mummy comes out. I recognize I'm getting even better now than I used to, at the beginning of lockdown. I'm so clear, I can feel it coming. And I now say to my kids, mummy needs a timeout. Sorry, and Greg knows, he knows what that means, and I'll take myself away from the dinner table. Rather than putting my kids on the step for a timeout, I take myself for the timeout, and then I can come back in one of my 5 women's power types. So to answer your question, Elena, the 5 women's power types are these beautiful ladies here: the lover, the queen, the sorceress, the warrioress, and the mother. And they are 5 archetypes which if we can access their energy, we have at our fingertips the resources to meet any opportunity that life throws our way, or indeed any challenge that life throws our way. So if I give you like the abridged version, mother is that place of unconditional love and acceptance. So she's fabulous, obviously, for our maternal relationships, but she's great also as a leader, a caring and nurturing leader, so that's mother power type. If you're interested, there's lots more information in the webinar I ran last night, which you'll find in the announcements section here at B1, a bit more information on these, and also in our Living the Change program, which we're taking enrollments for right now. So Warrioress is that fun, feisty, independent, youthful, energetic. She fights for injustice. I think about her in young Greta Thunberg. I also see her in the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg. May she rest in peace, from The Weekend. The amazing woman who fought for so many laws to be changed in the United States, which paved the way for much of the rest of the world, actually. So it's critical. Lots of warrioress energy in there. She's great for starting things, getting things done. Bit of fun in the bedroom too, to be honest, since we're talking about the bedroom so much today. Sorceress energy is that energy that is the part of us that connects to what we call source. We call it source as a shorthand here, but you might call it God, you might call it goddess, you might call it Lakshmi, you might call it Allah, you might call it the universe, nature, my higher self, intuition. She's the part that connects to that. She's that part of you. She's also the one who does things so well you make them look like magic. Like if you're a really great tennis player, you've probably got some sorceress going on around your tennising, right? You make it look like magic, for instance. We've been focusing a little bit on lover power type in this particular Q&A session. And lover power type is that part of us that is our sensual and sexual self. She is the part of us that if we don't have access to lover, our intimate relationships are not very intimate, There might just be more like friendships or flatmate relationships or brother-sister type relationships or sister-sister type relationships for that matter. So lover power type is the access to that, but she's also the center of our self-care, of cherishing our body. And that's why when I had my bath last night that I spoke about earlier, why I just took the time to really be in lover, to fill myself back up. After being with you ladies last night for 2 hours, just took that moment to fill myself back up, listening to my lover power type playlist on Spotify and really nourishing myself. And then that was the gateway then to be able to connect with my husband in a sexual way, right? So it's a really powerful power type. And also, if you don't have her, it's very likely you're going to burn out. So she is critical for avoidance of burnout. And then we have the Queen. So the Queen energy, these cards have also got all of the information on the back of that. If you're joining us for Living the Change Gold, we send you out a deck of these. Queen energy is the part of us that's very comfortable in leadership. She is serene, graceful. She sees the vision for the realm. She sees the horizon beyond the current crisis. She's the place that people come to for sanction, for blessing, for guidance. She's very good at decisions, very good at boundaries. She doesn't do guilt. So if we can develop a deep working relationship with these, Elena, the assumption and indeed the lived experience of the women in our community is that from this place, we can operate more powerfully in the world without falling into victim, bitch, martyr, superwoman, and so on. From this place, we can activate a strong feminine core, right? Can you see how all of these power types are feminine, but none of them are weak? Most of us relate femininity to weakness, and therefore we have turned into overly masculinized women, and then we wonder why we burn out because our body isn't built to run on testosterone and adrenaline. We wonder why we burn out. We wonder why it's difficult to maintain, polarity and sexuality in our relationships at home. It's another reason why a lot of women join us for Living the Change is because their relationships are really stalling. Because when you operate from superwoman for a long period of time, you become masculinized, you become, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with women with a very masculine core, that's fine, but the majority of women have at the core a feminine core, which wants to be in polarity with the masculine for frisson, for passion, for, and if you want a masculine energy partner, whether that masculine energy partner is a male or a woman with masculine energy, and if you want a great example of this, I follow on Instagram Glennon Doyle and her partner Abby Wambach. They're amazing. They're amazing. But Glennon is so in her feminine energy and Abby is so, the masculine energy in that relationship. It's just wonderful to watch. Obviously, both. We all have access to feminine and masculinity. We all have access to both. But there is this, in order for passion to be there, right, between someone else, someone wants to be at the feminine end of the spectrum, someone wants to be at the masculine end of the spectrum, and it can switch. I know there's lots of couples that will switch in the bedroom. One might take the feminine role, one might take the masculine role, and then 30 minutes later it's around the other way, and the other's in the masculine role, the other's in the feminine role. It's not about not that someone is that mode all of the time. But what happens in our culture is that because of the way we're brought up as little girls, where we are driven to achievement in order to earn our place at the work table and to be taken seriously, we start to compete like men. We start to masculinize. And that isn't, what's the word? It doesn't play nicely with intimate relationships. So if you're wanting to have a deep and sexy and passionate intimate relationship, then all 5 of these women's power types are going to help to support you with that. And Living the Change is going to help you to support with that as well. So do come and join us. Enrollments are open at the moment right now until Monday at midnight, ladies. So we've got 3 more days. If you're not already a member, come join us. Or if you are already a member, I know so many of you here who are listening with me right now are already members. If you've got a sister you know who should be a member, tell her to come and watch the training I did last night. Just say, look, humor me, watch this, you might find it interesting. Or if you've got a work colleague, or you've got a friend or a neighbor who you know is exhausted at the moment, who's operating from Superwoman, or she's just procrastinating on getting something started. Maybe it's someone you know from a networking group, or who's one of your suppliers at work, and you just want to give them a gift. Tell them about it. Invite them in here into the B1 community. They can watch the training I did last night. And if it's for them, they're going to thank you, and they're going to go ahead and get registered and join you on the program, right? Who do you know who needs to be in Living the Change? Because we've got 3 days to get them all enrolled and ready to go until we close doors on enrollments and we turn all of our attention inwards to nurturing and nourishing our new members and getting them underway with their journey, or your journey if you are there. So come join us. Come and join us. This is the website, oneofmany.co.uk/LVC, can take you through to all of those details. So let's have a look. Some more great questions coming through. So Callie says, could you please speak to talking about one of many with my 15-year-old? She rang to tell me that she's looking at doing her A-levels at a college rather than the 6th form at her school because they aren't her kind of people, and she wants to find out who she is. I thought I might watch your 90-minute executive summary with her over the weekend, but I'm not sure where to pitch it with her. Yeah, great. Now I can see you said I'm on Living the Change Gold, so I'll pick it up with Sharon next week. Sharon is obviously Callie's coach, yay, but wondering where to start. So how would I approach this? Let me see. I'm going to have a bunch of different things, Callie. It's going to depend on her personality and the nature of the relationship you have with her. But I love this, that she's saying, I want to find out who I am. So what I would do is I would start with, babe, I am so proud of you. And it makes me feel so freaking awesome as a mum that to hear my 15-year-old girl say, I want to find out who I am. Like, wow. If my daughter said that to me, I mean, God, look at the tears it's bringing me just even imagining it. How many people go through their whole fucking life, and I might not say fucking to my daughter, but maybe I would by 15. I probably would be by 15, to be perfectly honest. How many people go through their whole life without even asking themselves, who am I? What do I like? What do I care about? So the first thing I would be saying is acknowledging the pants off the fact that that's the pursuit that's the query that she has. Like, how great is that? How great is that? Then I might say, husband, thank you. I may or may not have been talking about sex. Right. With these ladies. Not the intricacies, but they all know that we did it last night. It just came up, you know? Oh, bless him. Bless him. He's brought me a cup of tea, and I'm talking about the fact that we had sex to thousands of women. Brilliant. He's a long-suffering man. Anyway, where was I? So yes, I did come from acknowledgement. And then I'd say the next thing that she wants to know is you're going to support her in whatever her choice is, right? Whether it's A-levels at the college or in the 6th form, right? You're going to support her. And let her know that you love her and you'll support her whatever her choice is. And then maybe you could say, One of the things that I've noticed, one of the things that's been really helpful with the coaching that I've been doing is I've learned this process called the wisdom process, where it helps us to access our own inner wisdom. Because, babe, you're the only one who's going to know what's going to be right for you. I mean, I can give you some guidance and some thoughts from my perspective about what might inform your choice. That's kind of what I would call shared wisdom. So I know some things that you don't know, and I can share some of those things with you. But what's more important is you being able to access your own inner wisdom. And in the coaching process, there's this great tool called the wisdom process that Joe does. And if you're interested, I could come. Why don't you come watch something with me, and I'll let Joe explain the PowerTypes to you, and then you'll understand what the wisdom process is, and we could do it together, or I could help you with that. So you could do something like that, Callie. In fact, in one of the Q&As that I did in here earlier in the week, when was that now? I did a wisdom process. So you might like to watch that with her. Oh, you've got Living the Change, right? So you've probably seen a wisdom process on one of the coaching calls as well. But I did do the wisdom process with someone who was worrying about their internet connection. I know that sounds ridiculous. In France, it was Ginny, and it was on Wednesday. So if you go back to Wednesday's Facebook Live, there's also a wisdom process in there. So that could be really helpful for your daughter. Callie, does that help, my darling? Hopefully that gives you a few places to start with it. Hope that helps. Lovely. Beverly says, I am loving being part of Living the Change. I've followed one of many for ages and done Be Fruitful, fabulous in brackets, and Be Powerful, fantastic, and loving feeling part of this world on tap. Hugs. Oh, Beverly, thank you, darling. I really appreciate it. That's it. We wanted to provide tools on tap, coaching on demand, right? That's to get through. This all came out of quarantine and came out of lockdown and came out of realizing that we women need each other now more than ever to get through all of this, right? We absolutely need it now more than ever. And that's why we created Living the Change, in order to be of service at this time on tap. Exactly. So you can stay for as long as you like, as long as you're getting value, just month by month. Or if you commit to a full year, you get Be Fruitful included, which Beverly has just spoken about there, can sort your time and energy management out. And you save 2 months as well. Plus, at gold level, you also get a behind-the-scenes time and energy management workshop with me personally, live, where I show you my calendar and I show you, I've told you about my sex life. If you want to see my calendar, you want to do gold, Living the Change, annual. Oh, fabulous. Some great questions coming in now, ladies. Margot says, I'm from Canada. Oh, yay. I love Canada. I want to come to Canada. I have not done enough of Canada. I've not seen enough of Canada, experienced enough of Canada. I did drive from New York up to Montreal with a dear friend of mine, Layla. She's an old school friend. We went through school together. And she lived in New York for a number of years. She's now in, I want to say Zurich. No, she's moved. She's in Portland now. This is a woman who's a global citizen. But we drove up through New England and at that beautiful time of year and up to Montreal. Oh my God, I fell in love with Montreal. It's amazing. And then I've since met people from all over Canada, from Toronto and little towns, but outside and around. And they were telling me how amazing it is. Vancouver. I want to come. I want to come back. So she says, I've been by myself since the start of COVID, and what saved me was going out every day for a long walk along the lake. That's it, right? What you've achieved for yourself there, Margot, is that ability to connect with nature, so connect to some immensity. Nature is immensity. To be able to tune in and fill up, right? To be able to fill up from that. Also, of course, exercise releases endorphins and helps us to feel good no matter what. But just that feeling, when we feel trapped, the best thing we can do is get out where we can get out, right? So absolutely, well done. I love that. Really good share. Thank you so much. Callie is saying that's fabulous. Good. So you know what to do with your daughter. That's brilliant. So, darlings, Living the Change is open for enrollments right now. If you're not already in there, know that you have 30 days pretty much to try it out because you're covered by a guarantee. So if you go to oneamany.co.uk/LVC, read through there on the website, discover what it's all about. Come and read some of the amazing comments here in this community, and then come and check it out for the first month. And honestly, if it does not blow your socks off, in the first month, tell us, we'll give you your money back, right? You've got nothing to lose at all except for the little bit of time to invest in exploring an opportunity. I can't give you your time back. I can give you your money back. I can't give you your time back. But is it worth an hour of your time to come into the community, to get connected, to maybe watch a training, come on a coaching call, and just see? See if the support is exactly what you need right now to be your best self, to get you empty out all of those emotions, to get back into flow, to get back into the driver's seat of life, to tap into your deep, juicy, powerful self, to be able to impact the world in a more powerful way, to step up and have more impact without burning out. You got nothing to risk, everything to gain. Come and join us, my darlings. That's where you need to get registered by Monday at oneamany.co.uk/LVC. I look forward to seeing you in there. I will be doing my final Q&A on Monday at 2 p.m. So if you have any final questions about content, I'm not available for coaching like this, except for when doors are open on Living the Change. As I say, we turn internally, and that's where all of my attention goes to our clients and members at that time. But during these times, it's the opportunity to get a sense of who we are and what we do and how we do it. So yes, I am available for you at the moment, but it all goes away on Monday. But my last little live Q&A will be at 2 p.m. on Monday. It would be an honor to see you there. If you have any questions that crop up over the weekend, if you're in Living the Change, ask yourself, who do I know who needs to be in here with me before doors closed? And I will see you, hopefully, on the inside very, very soon. Oh, wow, how lovely. Callie's last final thing. I joined last week and I love it. I wouldn't have dreamed of asking for help 2 weeks ago. I would have just bumbled through on my own. That's it. Reach out, my loves. Reach out. You don't have to freaking well do it by yourself. There's hundreds of awesome women here who can help you. Come on in. Let's do it together. None of us is doing it perfectly, but together, it doesn't matter. We'll see you on the inside, darlings. Bye.